The next-gen consoles are nearly upon us, and depending if you watch this past this Thursday or this coming Thursday, we will have seen Series X gameplay. And in this video, I'd like to talk about 5 things that you could really look forward to in terms of next-gen gameplay. So what's up, guys? It's Samurai Kibiji, in which every week I come to you with some news on some games that we could expect to be hyped about, and this week, next-gen. Next-gen is fun stuff. These next-gen consoles have some seriously crazy hardware in them that actually even rivals PC people, in like way cheaper of a deal. And the first thing that you will see visually from Series X in particular is gonna be ray tracing. Ray tracing is basically lighting, shadows, inclusion. It all just seems so much more realistic. There are some crazy examples to show from Minecraft specifically. There's maybe some other examples you could find out there, but just we're kind of at the graphic peak in terms of games. So how can we really make visuals better? Yeah, we could have better textures and motion capture and stuff, but ray tracing is kind of that big next step up that is really going to make games seem all the more realistic. If there is light beaming through fog, then you will see that light. Red Dead Redemption 2 does a great job of showcasing what ray tracing can do. It's a spectacular thing. This is all thanks to the crazy GPU that's in the Series X, but on the other side of things, the SSD mixed with a CPU, which is insanely improved from the previous gen, those are going to allow much more intricate and crazy world design. I'm not a tech junkie, but I have been following how these consoles are made and what they intend to do, and essentially like bouncing back and forth between the crazy updated RAM, the crazy updated CPU, and especially these SSDs being able to be used way more than the previous HDDs. They can allow developers to, not have those corridors that load up the map as you go through them, or these kind of linear paths you tend to follow in games, or the elevator sequences. They don't have to hide anything anymore. The world can just continuously load and allow things like they couldn't fly previously. They couldn't fly the character because there was too much to load as the game went. But now they don't have to force the character to walk or drive. They can do whatever they want because the game assets load like that. Speaking of loading, number 3 is definitely going to be the load times. That is something that we will not be visually, grasping as much as, say, gameplay, but it is something that keeps the flow going, the immersion going. You don't have to wait hardly at all to load certain games. I've really been experiencing this in Doom Eternal and just how quickly Bethesda made that game load in comparison to Doom 2016. And it's examples like that where we just don't have to deal with the craziness that is the GTA cloud anymore, where you're sitting there for 3 goddamn minutes. Or the atrocious load times that like Control or Jedi Fallen Order had. Those are both great games, but they would have been even better if we didn't have to deal with those load times. But thanks to these SSDs, those won't be a thing. That won't be a problem anymore. The 4th thing is something that really I personally am the most excited about, I would say, and that is the programming of the games and how NPCs, AIs, all that stuff is going to be so much more involved and not limited. One of my favorite game franchises is Kingdom Hearts, and I loved in Kingdom Hearts 3 where we got to see, they were very bland AIs, but at least we got some populations in certain Disney worlds. That's the kind of thing we could expect to see more of, some more lively towns, villages, cities. Think of how Grand Theft Auto 5, when it was on the 360 to the Xbox One, they actually added animals to that world, and that's because they had better hardware to load better creatures and more active environments. But now they're talking about AIs actually being able to have more unique behaviors and none of them seeming super just kind of copy and pasted, but they all seem to have unique personalities and ways of going about. That shit's awesome. I love hearing that. Bigger battles, more personal NPCs. Mwah. And the 5th thing is really kind of a blend of all these, but just more creativity, whether it comes to, say, Halo Infinite being some crazy Forge mode that Halo 5 had. I didn't think you could pass Halo 5, but thanks to this hardware, maybe the Forge mode will be crazy in that. And that's just on the player perspective, but on the developer standpoint, they get so much more freedom and ways that their players can just have the next gen experience. There's certain modes that just probably wouldn't be able to run on the previous gen, kind of like how GTA, in free roam, you could have up to 16 players, but now I think it's like 28 or something like that if you go on Xbox One. There was also Battlefield 3 for the 360 and 1, where the 360 version, I think you could only have like up to 24 or 32 players. But when you went up to 1, you could have 32v32 like bigger scale battles. And that's what I mean, this next gen, these consoles are gonna be way more powerful and able to do that kind of scaling perhaps. And there's already such crazy stuff that we can do on the PS4 and Xbox One, and now it's like, and that's just 5 things. There's more stuff like, you know, the whole running games and background and sound design and stuff, but I want to know, like, what other things did I miss? Or which of these 5 things I listed do you like the most? This is the year of next gen, and I'm super excited for things like Halo Infinite, next gen consoles, Last of Us Part 2, just tons of stuff this year that, you know, it's a crazy year, but who knows? Thanks so much for watching, and check out a video that you can see in the cards below. Go ahead, click, I'll wait for you.